Hi, welcome again. Now, this is the second layout for PVD and gangrene discussion. And in this second layout, again, there are 5 questions which we are going to discuss here. You can make more questions whenever required, as information given here and discussion is quite sometimes more. So these are the basic 5 questions that may be asked during your Viva VOC if you are going to have this the gangrene or peripheral vascular disease patients. So these are the questions as we have discussed in the first video. What are the types of gangrene clinically? What is dry gangrene? What are the predisposing factors for dry gangrene? What is wet or moist gangrene? And what are the clinical features of wet gangrene? Along with probably few snaps also. So again, you know that. Okay, first question. What are the types of gangrene clinically? Clinically, what are the different types of gangrene we are supposed to see in clinical practice? So just remember this slide. This is how a patient of gangrene may look like, and we can have here 6 different groups of various types of gangrene broadly. Out of these 6, the first one, the dry gangrene and wet gangrene. Broadly speaking, these two groups are the important ones. The dry gangrene, this one, and wet gangrene. All others are anyhow examples of either this one or this one, right? And all are having one thing common, and that common thing is impaired blood supply, right? So dry gangrene, wet gangrene, we are going to discuss in this video. Then in the next video, we'll discuss this gas gangrene, and finally in the fourth part, we'll discuss the Fournier's gangrene, that is a type of fulminant necrotizing fasciitis, followed by the internal organs gangrene, and finally the Melanese gangrene, along with few important points of management in patients of gangrene. So this is fourth video, and this is third video, and this is the second video we are discussing here, and we'll cover this dry gangrene and wet gangrene. Okay, so what is dry gangrene? Clinical types, 6 important types. And next question is, what is dry gangrene? Dry gangrene and wet gangrene, the basic difference, just remember, dry gangrene, there is gradual onset. There is gradual occlusion of arterial circulation. This is important in dry gangrene. Whereas in wet gangrene, there is sudden occlusion or fast occlusion of arterial circulation is there, right? So dry gangrene, basically there is death of tissue due to vascular insufficiency, and usually there are no bacterial invasion. Without bacterial invasion means most of the time no bacterial invasion is there in dry gangrene. What happens to the tissue? Tissue dies, loses sensation and dries up, blackens, shrivels, it becomes hard and mummified, right? And there is gradual occlusion of arterial circulation as seen in atherosclerosis, one of the example. So atherosclerosis are usually it's a disease of old age. So dry gangrene cases are usually seen in elderly people. Remember this most of the time. And most of the time, these patients, they require amputation. right? So one important word is there is gradual occlusion of arterial circulation. Gradual occlusion. And what are the findings? The affected area becomes cold and numb. Initially the color is red. Just remember the 5 signs of gangrene. Clinical features STP, color change, right? So here is the color change in dry gangrene. Initially it is red, then brown discoloration, and finally black and shriveled. There is disintegration of hemoglobin responsible for the color change. Here you can see one of the example just to show you. Here you can see the left upper limb, the digital gangrene, the dry type. You can see the distalmost portion of the terminal phalanx of index finger, the middle finger, as well as the ring finger and the little finger also, especially in the left hand. And here you can compare the same thing with the right hand condition, the fingers in the right hand. So this is a dry gangrene example. Obviously, she is an old lady suffering from atherosclerosis, and she was also giving history suggestive of hookah use, again tobacco and smoking, right? In dry gangrene, most of the people, the affected part does not become infected. Usually there are no superimposed infection in dry gangrene, usually, but it doesn't mean that secondary infection cannot occur. It may occur, but most of the patient, usually the superimposed infection is missing. Tissue becomes cold and black, obviously cold due to lack of blood supply, and it begins to dry, and eventually it sloughs off, right? Here you can see another example of dry gangrene. An old lady again, the right foot here at this time, that was left hand, this is right foot, both are different patients, and again, as just suggested in this video before, these type of patients, they usually land up into amputation, right? Dry gangrene is commonly seen in people with blockage of arteries, as in arteriosclerosis, and these are the predisposing factors: the increased cholesterol levels. If the patient is giving history suggestive of smoking for chronic duration, long-term smoking history is there. Then diabetes, again depending on the duration of the diabetes. Yes, uncontrolled diabetes is a predisposing factor for dry gangrene, and there are some other genetic and other factors are also working here. And finally, all these factors, anyhow, they are going to hamper the blood supply, right? Now, next question is, what is wet or moist gangrene? The wet gangrene, it develops usually as a complication of untreated infected wound, like in diabetic patients. They're having neuropathy also, and sometimes, usually diabetic patients, the old age patients, they're having injury in the foot area and they're unaware of that injury, and that untreated infected wound usually land up into a wet gangrene type of situation. Swelling resulting from bacterial infection, it causes a sudden stoppage of blood flow and there is a sudden block. Remember this sudden block term. Sudden block means wet gangrene, right? Emboli, one of the cause for sudden block. The super added infection, this bacterial infection, again may lead to sudden block. And this impaired blood flow, it facilitates the invasion of muscles by bacteria, and again the bacteria will multiply very fast. Why? Because Due to impaired blood supply, the WBCs cannot reach the affected part, so phagocytosis is impaired. This is how a wet or moist gangrene may look like. And a middle-aged male patient, diabetic, you can see here an example of wet or moist gangrene. Just focus on the digits, almost looking okay, although the patient is having vasculitis, microvasculitis due to diabetes. Wet gangrene is also known as moist gangrene. There is sudden block and embolus or superimposed gangrene associated with inflammation is there. And whenever this wet gangrene, we are examining the patient or we are going for X-ray of the affected area, and if that is showing gas or during examination we are having crepitus, this is known as gas gangrene. So gas gangrene is an example of wet gangrene. Okay. The affected area becomes swollen and decays, and that is extremely painful also. There is local oozing and foul smelling odor can be there. Usually the area, the site is black, and patient may be having a high grade fever also. You can have an idea of the wet or moist gangrene. Again, another case, right? A lady, the left foot. It may develop after a severe burn, this wet gangrene, or a frostbite injury. The physical factors here, they're working. These physical factors are working. The burn, the frostbite, or trauma, injury. This wet gangrene occurs in people with diabetes. Most commonly, this is the population that is usually affected who unknowingly injure a toe or foot. And one thing is very important, this wet gangrene needs to be treated immediately because it spreads quickly and can be fatal, right? Now layout 3, in the next video we are going to discuss what is gas gangrene, how the patient of gas gangrene presents to us, who are at maximum risk to develop gas gangrene, enumerate the organisms and toxins involved in gas gangrene, what is the role of hyperbaric oxygen therapy in gas gangrene. So let's meet in the third portion. Thank you.